So hey everyone, welcome to Small Farm Living. My name is Julie, and today I am participating in a challenge called the Calendar Girls, where we are taking a calendar or calendars and we are crafting something in the snowman theme. Now, our hosts today are Tiffany at Simply Blessed Crafts, also Jessica over at The Busy Housewife, and the co-host is Brenda over at Rustic and Lace DIY. Now, after this video is over, the links to their channels as well as the playlist where all the crafters that are participating will be displayed will be in the description, so please be sure to take a look at that. But in the meantime, let's get to crafting. So all I had was this Hawaiian calendar to work with, so we're just going to make it work. Now I'm going to cut this in half because the only thing I could think to do was to shred up this calendar. You can see all the beautiful, lovely colors on it. They don't look anything like Snowman or Christmas. And I'm going to take all of these shreds and I am going to do paper mache. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is get my water ready because I'm going to be putting my shreds into the water so that the fibers can break down and get the paper nice and soft and much easier for me to handle when I'm actually trying to put this together. So while that is going to start warming up, I'm going to take 4 cups of water, and I'm going to take 2 cups of flour and a pinch of salt, and I am going to mix that into my paste. Now, I don't quite know how much I'm going to need for this project, so I'm just going to make a batch, and whatever it is, it is. So we're going to get our water and our flour and our salt put into the pot, and the salt is just to keep mold from forming. Whether it works or not, we'll see down the road. But I've got my whisk. I'm going to whisk it all together to remove any lumps. And this is looking pretty good, and you have to continually stir this, and it took about 5 to 7 minutes for it to start forming a pudding-like consistency. And let me tell you, when you're doing this for that long, it wears you out. But you can see it's kind of looking like a pudding, and it's looking pretty non-lumpy. I read that if you actually cook it, it's supposed to reduce the lumps in your mache. And I chose to use flour and not glue simply because I didn't have any glue on hand. So now that it's thick, we are going to just give it a few more stirs just to make sure I have as many lumps out as possible. And then we are going to start adding our paper to the hot water. Now, hindsight, I would have taken this off the stove because the water had come up to a boil and I had turned it off. But being that I have electric heat and the units get hot, luckily it didn't happen, but I got to thinking, man, if I dropped any of this paper onto the unit, it probably would catch fire, but we were safe this time. So this is what I mean. I'm just gonna soak it because the calendar fibers are a little bit thicker than regular paper. So now I'm taking 2 styrofoam balls, one slightly bigger than the other, and because I want my snowman to sit flat on his bahootie, I am going to cut the base off of one of them. Then I'm going to measure a piece of this barbecue skewer so that I can connect the head and the body together. And I'm just going to snap it off. I'm going to put the skewer in there. I had to readjust it once it wasn't quite as straight as I wanted it. And then I will get the head pushed down on top of that. And we're looking pretty good there. So now that my paper has been sitting for a while, I'm going to strain it and squish as much out as I can with a spoon, and then really squeeze the rest out with my fingers. Now it's in a tight ball, so I just have to take and pull it apart with my fingers and get it put into the mixture. And I just did a little bit at a time just to avoid getting big clumps build up. And oh my gosh, this is so messy, you guys. Not my ideal kind of craft. I'm thinking, oh, I could just imagine my granddaughter would love this. I'm sure a lot of little kids would love making a mess. But I just started building the paste around his head, and it was kind of thick. With normal paper mache where you do bigger strips and you can kind of squeegee the goo off with your fingers, you couldn't really do it with the way I did this paper mache, but I really wanted his head to be very textured, almost like a snowfall look would be when you make a snowman without smoothing everything out. So the top I got all done, and then the bottom I started layering this on, and I have to tell you, I was super surprised that this didn't just fall all off. I was kind of thinking when I was putting it on, it was just gonna ooze all off and just run off of him, but the mixture must have been just right, and it stuck to the styrofoam really well. And after I got this put on, I kind of fiddled with it a little bit just to get the shape the way I wanted it, and the neck to concave in enough so you could tell that there was actually a head and a bottom. And then I let this sit and dry. I actually set it up onto a cookie sheet with a fan blowing, and it did that for a full day. And it still wasn't 100% dry, but it did dry enough to where we could continue on with the craft. And so now that it's pretty much dry, we're going to take some of just my crafting paint and we're going to squeeze some of this into my disposable cup here. And then I wanted to make a textured paint, so I'm adding some baking soda to it. And I did read ratios on doing this because I honestly have not done the baking soda in the paint before. And I kind of liked the way it was looking, but I really wanted it to be a little thicker. So I added some more baking soda, got that stirred around. And then this is my lovely Lazy Susan I found at a thrift store. So I just have to tell you, my daughter, she looked at this and she said, Mom, you know what that looks like? It looks like that multicolored fabric or multicolored carpet padding that you find under carpet. And then once she told me that, I couldn't unsee it. It just cracked me up. But I said, oh, no worries. We're going to cover them up with paint. So I just started working the paint in here, and I really had to scrub it because this is very textured and a lot of frumps and bumps and gaps. And so I just, no mercy. And I'm telling you, this stuff was on here really, really well. I didn't have any pieces break off or anything in the process of doing this. So I just continued around and got him all covered there. You can see, doesn't he look like just like snowy textured? That's kind of what I was hoping it would look like, and I was very pleasantly surprised that by the time I got the paint on there, it looked how I was really hoping it would look. Because I'm telling you what, when I first started this project, I had no preconceived notion of what it was going to turn out like. Now for his hat, I did not have a typical snowman hat, so I thought he would have, kind of like a little beanie hat look. And I took one of my husband's Powerade caps, and then this is like a cap off of a wine bottle, I think. I get caps from people, save caps, just kind of crazy stuff in my crafts. But, lo and behold, you can make something cute out of just some strange things. So I glued this onto the base, and then I took some of my metallic espresso paint, which if you've watched a previous video, it is my favorite color this year. I don't know why, but I love it. And so I'm just going to put a little bit on a piece of wax paper here, and I am going to paint his hat. Instead of black, I am going to do it in this metallic espresso. And as soon as I started putting it on this red portion, this is actually a metal top and it's very, very smooth. And so the paint was not going on very even, and it ended up taking me 3 coats to get this fully covered. And I just set it down and let it dry, and in between the coats I worked on the tinsel. Now I wanted the tinsel to kind of look like the same color as the hat, but I still wanted there to be that silvery shimmer underneath, so I just took a little bit of that paint and brushed it on there. Now when everything was dry, I just wanted to measure enough to go around where the 2 pieces that I glued together met. And I just put a little dot of glue where I started. I put one completely opposite on the other side just to keep it held into place really well, and then finished it off with another dot of glue where I started and got that tucked down on there and secured into place. And now I'm putting quite a bit of glue on the top of this because he is frumpy, bumpy little snowman. This didn't sit completely flat on his head, but once I got a nice big old generous glob of glue on there, it stayed on there just fine and you couldn't even tell. But I thought in order to cover up that gap, I would take some more of that same tinsel, and we're just going to repeat the same process. Put a little bit of glue down, wrap him around, put a dot of glue on the other side, and then finish him off. So he kind of has like a tinsely beanie. And then I had this ribbon in my stash, no clue where I got it, probably the thrift store. And I thought it kind of was in the same tone as that espresso metallic that I used on the hat. And so I wanted to use this as his scarf, or at least one part of it. So I got that tied in just to a knot. And then I did put a dollop of glue on there to keep that knot in place. And then I took the second piece of tinsel that I had put a light bit of paint on, and I just twisted it around. And then in order to get that top piece of ribbon to stay down, I twisted the tinsel over on top of it to weight it down, and it kept it in place perfectly. So now I'm just going to trim the ends, put little decorative touches on the ends of them. And there we are so far. Now this poor little guy needs a nose. So I found some old costume jewelry because I didn't have anything for a nose. And there was these little orange pieces on this funky old necklace that I had. So I thought that would make the perfect little nose. And I wanted to put the nose on first because I wanted to kind of make sure I could center his eyes on either side of the nose. And then once that was on, then I just put little dollops on each side so I could put the eyes on. And these little beads are from the same necklace that was kind of a black and orange necklace. Not anything that I would wear. And I made sure that it wasn't anything valuable. It's just old costume jewelry. So now I have his eyes and his nose on, and I hadn't decided yet really what I wanted his mouth to look like. So I thought we would move on to the next step while I thought about it. And we are going to put him on a little base. And this is a lid off of a to-go container that I actually did a craft with one of these to-go containers, and I made it into a really cute Victorian look. And I will link that video down below if you're interested in taking a look at that if you haven't seen it already. But I just put that same paint on here, and once it dried, then I put quite a generous amount of hot glue on the bottom of my snowman. Put him right down in the center there and held him until he was glued into place. And then I just decided I wanted to just give him a smiley face, and I was a little nervous about doing this because his texture is so frumpy and bumpy. You know, if you've done it before, it's hard to get it straight without, hitting a bump and having your line go off center. But very luckily, I was able to very carefully get his little smile put on there. And I like the simpleness of the smile. At first I was thinking about doing a dotted mouth, but I'm really glad I did this one instead. So now I'm just going to take some of my Mod Podge, and down in the base between him and the rim, I am going to put a generous layer all the way around that. And I'm also going to put some up on the edge of the rim. Kind of hard to see with my hand in the way, sorry. And then I'm going to take some of this fake snow that I just got at the dollar store, and I'm just dumping it in there. And then I actually dumped the rest of it out on the table. And then I'm taking some more Mod Podge, and I'm just very lightly brushing some of it here and there. I'm not coating his whole body, just here and there, so that, and I did get some on his hat, but you can't really tell in this picture. But I just wanted to be able to have a little bit, so as when I put the snow on there, it looks like he's catching some of the snow that's falling. And he did. He even got a little bit on his nose and on his hat. And I'm going to reveal him at the very end. But first I wanted to say a little something. So I just wanted to take a little break in between the crafting to say, if you are new here, welcome again, and let you know that I own and operate a small flower and vegetable farm. And so on this channel, I don't just do crafting. I also show you everything from starting from seed, transplanting, potting them up, putting them in the field, harvesting, putting bouquets together, canning, preserving, all of that good stuff. And I do still craft in between because I love to craft. And I also will be doing some stuff with some of my dried flowers coming up as well. So I just wanted to let you know that if you haven't subscribed and you love that kind of content, I would love to have you subscribe and to hit that like button. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it really helps my channel out more than you would know. So let's get back to the last couple of crafts. So with that same paper mache, I just took some of my cookie cutters, particularly my snowman one, and I put it in, and I was afraid if I took it out, it would just kind of like puddle out, but it didn't. They completely held their shape, and these dried along with the snowman with the fan for a day. And when they were dried, I just painted them and put some cute little faces and buttons on them. And I think this would be a really fun thing to do with little kids. You know, it's something that would get messy, but I think they would have a lot of fun doing it. And then they could personalize them and make them their own. And the very last craft that we're going to do with a calendar is, this is a little mini desk calendar, and I'm thinking, oh my word, what am I going to do with this? But I saw online a little snowman garland where they're holding hands, and so I was trying to look through this calendar, and once again, everything is anything but Christmas looking. And I found this one page, and I thought, well, there's some blue in there, and blue is kind of snowman-y, so I thought, well, we'll use this page for starters and see how it turns out once we get it cut. So we're going to get this page ripped out, and then what we're going to do is fold it in half. And now if you used a larger calendar, you would get a much bigger effect out of this, but I used my whole large calendar on the paper mache. But we're just going to fold it in half again, and then in a half again. And then I have a little template that I drew a snowman on for the way it needed to be. And this one has a mitten. I also have a template that has like, it looks like stick fingers. That's really cute. But you want to start your design on the folded side, and then I'm just going to make that design that you see there on the paper on my folded piece of calendar. And trust me, it took me a few tries off camera to figure out exactly how to get this to work. It's been such a long time since I've cut anything out and made like a little paper chain or a paper garland. But I just thought these were so cute, and I know my granddaughter will love them. So I just carefully cut around his hand. The arm where it attaches to the body is the most delicate part. It's really easy if you're not careful to chop his little hand off. So now we've got him all cut out. And again, if this was a bigger piece of paper, the chain would be longer, but the way that this one was folded in its size, I got 4 pieces out of it, but they didn't quite stay together. So what I'm going to do is just line their hands up, and then I will form the chain by taping them together. And then I hung this up where my granddaughter's toys are, so she will see it the next time she comes over. But see how this one has mittens and the one next to it has the little stick-looking hands? But I just think these are super cute too. Something fun to do with your grandkids. And even if they couldn't do the design, you could trace it out for them. And if their motor skills are where they could cut it out, I think they'd have fun making these as well. So now we're going to reveal this snowman. Now here he is. I think he turned out so much better than I thought he was going to. Let me know what you think of him down in the comments. Like I say, I had no idea how this was going to turn out. I was just kind of winging it as I went. And I think he's like my favorite so far. He's just cute and happy. Even though snowmen aren't super my thing, I really love him. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.